Yo, what's going on? I love you. Travis here. Cold gray day in Seattle, and we're gonna talk about Gamergate. Now, before you leave a comment, listen to this, very important. We're going to try to, the goal of this is to raise the level of discourse on Earth between humans. So, what we're not going to do is try to assert one narrative as the true, correct narrative. This is an exploration of the truth, not an exploration of the truth. This is an exploration of perspectives over a big thing that happened. There's 3 distinct perspectives about what Gamergate is, and we're going to look at each narrative, and we're going to respect that narrative as being the real, truth, reality narrative to that group that holds that. So, in the comments, you can suggest what we should do, you can clarify what your narrative is, but we aren't going to say that this is reality, everyone else is wrong. That's basically what everyone else has done, and why I'm making this video is an attempt to look at each story and give each story a fair shake, represent it in the best possible way. This will give us a better idea of what people are actually feeling. Every single story I've seen on this is totally biased in one of the 3 perspectives and misrepresents the other perspective. So we're going to make a real strong effort. This isn't going to be 100% correct. It's also not an exploration of truth. So you can, if you can expound on these perspectives, you can clarify, you can correct, awesome. But again, we're not going to say everyone else, this is right, that everyone else is wrong. This is important to do. Okay, now you can leave a comment at this point. Okay, so let's move on. What the fuck is Gamergate? Why do we care? Gamergate's a big thing that happened on the internet, and we should care because it relates, but it depends who you ask. So, let's go through the 3 narratives, and for each, I'm going to give you 2 additional resources to look up to learn more about what these people believe happened. So, narrative number 1 is the kind of mainstream narrative that if you read journal articles, or you read Anita Sarkeesian or Zoe Quinn, and there's a lot of people that feel this way, definitely. This is kind of the well, I wouldn't, everyone's into social justice. These are definitely social justice. This social justice does not characterize this movement necessarily. Maybe. Anyways, so what these people feel Gamergate is about is misogyny, sexism, terrorism of women in gaming, or a few particular women, or in culture and society. Definitely ties in with feminism. And this is a reasonable way to feel because Gamergate started with one woman's personal sexual life leaked on the internet and escalated to thousands, 10,000, 100,000, million men piling on Twitter angrily. If this looks like sexism, doesn't it? So it's fair to say, okay, there's a lot of angry men and a few women that have loud voices in gaming. This seems to be sexism, right? So is that fair? Is that a fair characterization of what these people believe? If not, again, you can look up Anita Sarkeesian, Zoe Quinn. That's really the basic and the short, is that there's the boys club is opening up to women, and it ought to be friendlier to women, and they're not. And yeah, when we say attacks of men piling on, this is the worst kind of 4chan, Reddit users, something awful, doxing, leaking their private info, having people spam them, threats, like the most disgusting kind of threats. So misogynistic type threats coming from some of these radicalized gamers, right? So that's perspective number 1, misogyny, sexism, etc. Is that fair? Let's move on to perspective number 2. What's up, bird? Perspective number 2 is that Gamergate is about distrust of the media. This is incorrectly characterized. These people don't feel that it's about ethics in game journalism. They felt that it's about ethics in journalism, in the media in general. It started with ethics in game journalism. For these people, it started when they found out that the gaming media was playing a lot of favoritism in what games they pushed, and that they weren't pushing games based on being like objectively good or fun, but based on who they knew, who they owed favors to. And these people got very upset because they identify as gamers, they've been trusting game journalism, and now they find out they can't trust it. So they start pointing fingers at a few in particular, and the media, which they're already distrusting, turns around and calls them a bunch of misogynists, a bunch of bigots, sexists, and these people are like, what the fuck? Why? Like, what? You're being especially unethical. And then the media is like, you're terrorizing us now, and it's like, what the fuck? So these people feel like this is not necessarily what I believe, this is what this group believes. I'm not sexist, I'm not misogynist, I'm asking why the media is being so unethical, and they're just being extra unethical by calling me misogynist and bigoted. So it's not about game journalism, because it got into journalism in general, it got big. So there's this whole movement of people that, oh, by the way, the first perspective is definitely ties in with feminism, right? Women's rights and so on. So going back, anyways, back to the second perspective, because I don't want to leave that out. Back to the second perspective, these people have become extremely distrustful of the media in general, and there's kind of this free speech movement. It's kind of morphed into people suspicious of Twitter and Facebook for suppression, people suspicious of social justice warriors for censorship of contrary ideas, people sick of being called bigot and misogynist. So this is being expressed, these Gamergaters are being expressed as a free speech movement, and if you want to know more about that, check out Milo Yiannopoulos and Christina Hoff Sommers. Those would be the ones to look at. But I mean, this is a fairly big centrist or central group of thought that fuck the media, basically. I'm not sexist, I'm not bigot, fuck the fucking media for calling me that shit. That is really how these people feel. Am I wrong? Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but that seems to be what it is. Again, check out Milo Yiannopoulos, Christina Hoff Sommers. Perspective number 3. So we have the kind of misogyny narrative, we have the distrustful media narrative. Perspective 3 is that Gamergate is about misandry, it's about women hating men. Again, we're just saying, here's what people believe. Is this valid? It's possible that all 3 of these perspectives can exist simultaneously and be valid simultaneously, or be partially right, partially wrong simultaneously, right? Okay, so perspective 3 is that it's misandrous. There's a few women who have really loud voices, Sarkeesian's on the Colbert Report, and just calling us all a bunch of sexists. This is the last bastion of male activity where we can be in gaming, and women are coming in and they're telling us we should feel bad about what we like to look at, what we like to play, and these people are like, fuck it, I'm out. And that is morphing into the men's right activist, and is morphing into the men going their own way. Some men are just like, well, gender relations are so fucking bad right now, I'm out. I'm out. I'm gonna go be gay and play video games or whatever, you know. I'm gonna be asexual and watch porn or whatever, right? So there's a lot of men who feel that way also. You can see this ballooning MGTOW MRA movement. So this is why Gamergate is so fucking fascinating, because it's grown the new feminism, and it's grown the free speech, and it's grown the MRA, men's rights. Like, it's this massive platform. Gamergate has been a massive platform for these talking points. So as you can see, all 3 of these perspectives are valid to the people who have them. And there's a problem where generally if you're in one, you can't really see the other, you mischaracterize, right? Yeah, so the goal of this is to raise the level of discourse. That's what I'm trying to do. Do you understand what this is about? That we can see, like, wow, let's consider each other's perspectives. Okay, that's valid, right? Again, it's possible that there's some sexist, misogynist, terrorizing men, and that there are some misandrous women, and that there are problems with the media. Probably all three of those things are certainly true, right? So I'm not sure what my message is, and you can but beyond raising the level of discourse by looking at the three perspectives, you can comment below if you have some ideas of what to do. Where do I stand on all this? Again, I don't think we're going to get anywhere if we don't look at the other sides of it. I mean, I'm definitely find the free speech type thing kind of evocative. You know, I like to tell you, because I know a lot of you watching this are so-called white males, like, hey, you're probably not, men watching this, you're really not sexist. You don't need to hear that, and you don't need to call everyone sexist for having male tendencies, right? I mean, that would be my main message, because I'm a man. And to the misogyny narrative, calling men that just makes them angrier, by the way. If your goal is to prove that men don't like you, then that will probably achieve that. And then for the misandry narrative, like, guys, we need you to try to repair this as well, if at all possible, or we're not going to make babies this generation. So, I mean, we will, but rates are down. So what do you think about all that? Did I fairly characterize these three perspectives? Did I give the appropriate sources on these three perspectives? And what the fuck else? It's just interesting. Let's have a civilized discourse discussion. So leave me a comment below. Peace. Love you. Appreciate you. Much love. Take action. See you in the comments.